This
Are we ready?
conference will now be recorded.
My name is Hayes Clement. I'm the chairman of the City of Kingston Heritage Area Commission, and I'm calling to order at 6:30 p.m. April 29th, 2020, the April 2020 meeting of the commission. Thank you all for being here. Clearly, this is going to be a little different from our usually in-person meetings. Sue is going to go over the technical rules of how we're going to proceed with roll calls and recording and muting and such. First, I am going to call attendance of all the members of the commission. I'm Hayes Clement. I'm here. I'm the chairman. Bonnie Howland is the vice chairman. Are you here, Bonnie?
Bonnie Howland's here.
Dean Barnes.
Here.
Bernie Matthews.
No,
Sue, please record that as not present.
I did.
Abigail Robin.
Here.
Michael Del Priore.
Here.
Kevin McAvoy.
Here.
Seeing as how we have a quorum, I'm going to start the order of business. City officials and staff that are here include Sue Cahill, if you want to raise your hand, Sue. She's our
Here.
city planning director. And Julie Edelson Safford, our historic preservation administrator. Thank you for being here. Starting with general business, one announcement. Well, Sue, do you want to explain the technical stuff now?
I am going to do that. And in the meantime, Rich, would you please shut off your video until you're called upon for your property review?
No problem.
Okay, so any member of the public, we please are asking you to stay muted until you are called for your discussion of your project. Commission members and city staff are going to control their own mute button. However, good practice is to keep yourselves muted. That will eliminate background noise and feedback. If a commissioner wishes to speak during the course of any discussion, we just ask that you raise your hands and I will call upon you so that Hayes, our chairman, can recognize you. And then you can speak, and then you would introduce yourself, speak, and then put yourself back on mute. All of the meetings are being recorded. Both video and written transcriptions will be made available put on the city's website at a later date. All meeting materials, meaning the applications, any supporting documentation, written comments are found on the city's website at www.kingston-ny.gov. On the home page, if you scroll down to the bottom under meetings and click on Heritage Area Commission link for agenda, you will see a universal hyperlink there, and that will take you to all of the items on the agenda. Click on one you want, and you'll see the information posted there. If at any time any of you have an audio issue, I ask that you send a text to the following number, 845-443-0416. I'll repeat that number again in a minute, but just be aware, no phone calls will be taken on that line during the course of the meeting. You must text your question to 845-443-0416. As the organizer of the meeting, I'm going to reserve the right to lock and pause the meeting if needed, if anyone behaves inappropriately, or if the commission as a whole needs to enter attorney-client conference. The commission wants to thank everybody, for your patience during these times, and on behalf of the commission, I wish you and your families good health. And I now will turn the floor back over to Chairman Hayes Clement to call the meeting.
Thank you, Sue. First order of business is to note that typically we have a period for public comment prior to the start of listening to applications. We're foregoing that tonight. There were no comments received by 2 p.m. Monday, April 27th by Julie Edelson Safford. So we're not going to be taking comments. That doesn't mean that an applicant is not going to be given the right to comment. Note 2, due to the recording and having to transcribe this meeting from the recording, as I said earlier, we're going to be taking a roll call on each vote. Since some of us aren't here by video, we're going to be doing that by voice. First order of business is the adoption of the minutes of our February 26, 2020 meeting. Everybody those were distributed to everyone electronically. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of February 26, 2020? Are there any comments or issues with the minutes? Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of February 26, 2020?
Bonnie Howland, yes.
Motion by Bonnie,
Bonnie, motion. Is there a second?
Second, Dean.
second
Second by
Dean.
Dean Barnes. I'll call. Any questions on it? Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. Hayes Clement, I vote to approve the minutes. Bonnie Howland,
Bonnie Howland, I vote to approve.
Dean Barnes,
I vote to approve.
Michael Del Priore,
I vote to approve.
Bernie Matthews is absent. Sorry, Kevin McElvoy,
I vote to approve. Yeah.
and
approve.
Abigail,
Yeah.
and Kevin and Abigail Robin.
I vote to approve.
Thank you. The minutes are approved.
Motion carries.
First order of new business, 105 St. James Street, an application to remove 2-tab asphalt shingles on an entire upper roof and replace with architectural timberland HD and oyster gray. Removal of shingles from front porch roof and replacement with black sheet flat roof material EPDM. The applicant is Beth Rossler, who is the applicant and owner. And Beth, are you here?
Yes. Hayes, Beth is
Yep.
here, and she just unmuted herself.
Beth, if you could introduce yourself to the commission and just sort of explain your need for this.
Sure. So I'm Beth Ressler, and I'm the owner of 105 St. James. And I got solar panels on the roof last year. You guys approved them. And as a result of the work that was done for the solar panels, the roof began to leak. I had it assessed, and they found that it was not adequate to be fixed, but needed to be replaced. So, and I chose these shingles that are slightly different from what's there now, because they're the old 3-tab shingles now, and I wanted the architectural shingles, which were recommended to me as being higher quality, and I chose a gray that was very neutral.
Does anybody have questions of Beth? Any other questions? Any other issues? I will note that this is for reasons of seeker review. This is a type 2 action and requires no seeker review. And I will also note that this has been deemed an emergency repair, and under the governor's emergency orders could proceed immediately. Do I hear a motion to approve the application for the roof replacement at 105 St. James Street as presented, with guidance that this is an emergency repair?
I so move.
Dean
Dean
Barnes,
Barnes moved.
do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mike Del Priore.
Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. Hayes Clement, I vote to approve. Dean Barnes,
I vote to approve.
Abigail Robin,
Vote to approve.
Bonnie Howland,
Vote to approve.
Michael Del Priore,
I vote to approve.
Kevin McElvoy,
I vote to approve.
Motion-
carries.
motion carries. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. Good luck.
Bye, Beth.
Can I interject, please? Did we do the secret conversation already, and I missed it?
Yeah.
Yes, he did it.
Okay. Okay.
Next order of business. What order do you want to take this in the order of the agenda, Sue? Or do we want to do this?
I think, let's go. Let's do 4 and 5. No,
Okay.
let's go in the order.
Okay. Next order of business is 608 Broadway, a proposal to replace windows on the second and third levels with double hung 2/2 vinyl windows and glass block for large windows. The applicant is architect Robin Andrada, and the owner is Annie Chen through 608 AMC Broadway LLC. Are Annie Chen or Robin Andrada present?
Robin's here.
Robin Andrade is here. She's on video and she's unmuted herself.
Robin, do you want to present your case on this?
I think you have the whole presentation, don't you?
I read it, yes.
Including the letter that I sent, the follow-up letter? Okay, has everyone read that? And I think it's pretty clear. I was very detailed about why the windows were changed, and prior to, I mean, we made a submission. I missed it by 1 day in February. And then I submitted for March. Got canceled right around the same time. The first order from the governor came down. This got canceled. Glass started falling out of the windows, and the contractor, without me knowing until the following Monday when he got a stop work order, he called me, said, I got a stop work order. I said, what for? And he said, for the windows. So he said, he told me why he was putting the windows in. He got as far as, I guess, the third floor. And then, you know, back and forth with Julie. And the bottom line is the windows comply, as far as I'm concerned, with all the windows in the neighborhood, as well as newer windows that were put in at 666 Broadway, I think. I don't remember the address. So anyway, we just want to, he needs to continue with the windows. We keep having these windstorms every now and then. He's going back and checking the other windows. He boarded some up that looked like they were gonna, you know, move. But that's what happened. There were some windstorms and the glass from a couple of the windows came falling down onto the street. So as you know, there's a stop work order on it. The third floor was done. You can actually probably have seen it at this point. And they want to continue putting these windows in. So we need the approval.
Okay.
Sue, do you or Julie want to add what the professional staff's opinion on this is?
Julie, do you want to start?
Sure. I told Robin that this needed to be approved before the windows were put in. I took pictures of the windows. Everybody has all this information, but my photos were taken March 19th. The application was submitted in March, not in February. It was submitted March 10th, and it was submitted shortly before we were having our meeting, I believe, but I'm not sure about that. But anyway, I also supplied you guys with SHPO's professional opinion on this. I have the resource evaluation on the website. It's accessible to all, where it says that this particular building has been deemed eligible for landmark status. It says that it's prominently cited, that it needs to be respected, basically. So, and I also supplied you guys with the page from the urban cultural plan that illustrates how window openings should be treated, how replacement windows should be treated. So it is my opinion that the windows were put in without the approval of the HAC and that they weren't fit for the window openings, and that I believe you referred to the building as an eyesore, but it's a significant building, Robin, and SHPO believes that it should be a landmark.
Okay, I didn't say it was an eyesore, number one, so you should read everything I wrote, because if I use that word, then,
You did.
I mean, there's like fake news going on here, because number one, on March 19th, I have all the dates, okay? And first of all, this is the first I've ever heard of SHPO. You should have sent something like that. I sent this note to you a while ago, never got a response. I even specified there was no entity that had stated this was a historic building. At this point, it is not a historic building. It's not deemed a historic building. That's the opinion of SHPO. Nothing has come down the pike. You had not sent us anything. I am not denying that the contractor put the windows in because he had them there on site. It's all listed in my letter to you, okay? All the dates and everything. So you shouldn't try to contradict what I wrote, because what I wrote is correct. So the bottom line is that they have half of the windows in. No one's denying that they were. There was a stop work order. I did submit this for March. I never said February. I said I tried to submit it for February. Spoke to Sue. She said it was too late. And I did say it was March, so don't say I didn't say that. Bottom line is we need to get these windows in. Even New York City Historic Preservation allows, and I noted it on here, allows square windows with a little top, just like we're doing on this shape window, okay? Bottom line is that I have cited so many buildings that have even worse conditions than this building. And these buildings, if you looked at it, it looks very handsome. The top is not completed, the eyebrow, because he didn't have time to do that. But these are no different than buildings that you would see in the Upper East Side or the Upper West Side of Manhattan. Now, if SHPO is deeming this as a historic building right now, that's a different case. Okay, you tell me that they're deeming this a historic building, or that's already deemed a historic building. And the fact that you didn't even supply us with any paperwork or any documentation, and now I'm hearing this all of a sudden, so you're holding this all in, that's not right, okay? So we have had these, I forget when the stop work order was. I think March 19th, Governor Cuomo did the mandate, all within 2 days, literally 24 hours. All this stuff was happening. The windstorm, the glass came out, the mandate, and then a day or two later, the stop work order. So, you know, I mean, there were a number of things that happened that caused him to put the windows in, because he had them there on site. He was waiting for this meeting, as well as you said there was no meeting in March. And I wrote to you asking, can we please have this done via phone, via whatever, which probably could have been done in March, okay? And we could have gotten this all straightened out. So, and that's the last thing that the client knew from me, or not the client, the contractor, was that, you know, it's canceled indefinitely. We didn't know when. So at this point, you can visually see these windows. We are going by the guidelines of the design guidelines. We're not doing anything different than any other building, old or new, is doing. So, you know, go through all the buildings, all the neighboring buildings. The fact that you have selected this building and gone to SHPO or whatever, that's not right, okay? Did SHPO come to you to tell you this? I don't know. You know, this is not any more historic than any other building can be made historic in Midtown.
May I speak?
Sure.
Julie, it's Julie Edelson Safford speaking.
This is Julie Edelson Safford speaking. The day that Governor Cuomo mandated that work be stopped was the morning that I had already taken pictures of the windows, had already been installed. You used the word eyesore in your letter to me, and that's available online, describing this building. I see it in front of me. It's in the last paragraph.
Where is it on the left?
I did not reach out to SHPO. I simply did my research, which is what I'm supposed to do when I process an application. And I looked on the New York State Historic Preservation Office Cultural Resource Information System website and looked up the building, which I would imagine anybody working on it would do. This is a website that's accessible to the public, and all the information there is accessible. So
Okay.
I did not supply that information to you. I posted it on the city's website with all the applications for this meeting. It's posted online, and you may review it if you'd like.
Where did
But
you
this is
supply
all information that you should be aware of already, Robin, because the page that I took out of the Urban Cultural Plan is a Kingston City book that birthed the Heritage Area Commission.
Where did
And
you?
are the Heritage Area Commission, so you should be aware of that. I wasn't aware that you weren't aware of that.
Oh, when did you supply?
Clement wants to speak.
Okay, Julianne, Robin, if we could possibly just, for the purposes of this discussion, let's just focus on the windows themselves and what the commission's point of view on the windows are, putting aside the process problems in this situation. No, Julie, let me finish. I think the windows themselves are a significant improvement on what was there. My question of Robin is, on the second floor, where there's that fill-in wooden part at the top of the existing windows, is that going to be a full window, or is there still going to be that wooden insert on the second floor?
It's a eyebrow and it's small. It's about like 2 inches or 1.5 inch to about 3 inches. It's an eyebrow, black eyebrow, similar to the other window that I submitted. If you look at page 4, if you look at any of these windows, you'll notice that they all have square windows in an arched top. Park Opticians happens to be the worst case, but if you look at any of them, they're all square windows in an arch top, and it's going to be filled with the same material, a filler on top. So it's going to read as a black arch.
Robin, on the photos of the existing, where it's got the new windows on the third floor, but it shows the existing windows on the second floor. Right. On the second floor, there's a significant insert at the top of the window. It looks like there's a drop ceiling or something. Is that going away, or is that staying?
It's going to look like the third floor windows, exactly.
If that's the case,
yes.
I think this is a very, very significant improvement on what was there.
May I speak now?
Sure.
I would like to recommend, since
Introduce yourself, please.
Again, this is Julie Edelson Safford, and since in the process of reviewing this application, it was discovered that very recently, I believe it was December of 2018, SHPO deemed this eligible for landmark status, that you guys refer this to the Historic Landmarks Preservation Commission for comments and recommendations.
Why would you do that? This is a Midtown building. I mean, why would you do that to a client who's already got half the windows in? Is this just a personal vendetta or something? I don't understand it.
No, it's not a personal vendetta, Robin. Please don't be ridiculous. This is part of our code. It says so in Broadway Overlay District Design Standards that you guys have the right, should it be appropriate, to refer applications to other agencies that are interested in what is happening in that application, which I believe the HLPC
Robin.
is very much so interested in this.
Can I just say one thing? Julie, please point me to where you sent me the information on SHPO.
I did not say I sent it to you. I posted it on the city's website with all the other applications. It's on the Heritage Area Commission's page.
When was this posted? When was this posted?
I don't know the exact date of when I posted it. I posted it in time for this meeting.
Was it a few weeks ago? Was it a couple days ago? Give me a time frame. When was it posted?
Within the past week.
In the past week, so you should have told me or notified me that it was posted. How do I know? I don't check your website every 2 minutes.
I didn't have a chance to tell you, nor do I feel that it's my
Well, then you're just-
responsibility to notify
then-
you of something I post online that's available to everybody to see.
Come on, that's crap.
Website.
All right,
Julie,
That's crap.
Julie, and Robin. Robin,
let's
let
cool it.
Hayes.
So let's cool it on the personal stuff if we could. This is Hayes Clement. I would like to hear just two things. First, I want Sue to clarify that this is our province to vote to approve this or not. That's an option, referring it to landmarks. We don't have to do that. Second, I want to go around and hear other commissioners' sort of point of view on the aesthetics of this. Not
Correct.
necessarily the process and not necessarily this back and forth about what happened when and not. So
Right.
Sue, clarify our role for this?
This is Sue Cahill. Under the Broadway design overlay standards that are adopted as part of the City of Kingston zoning code, the Heritage Area Commission is the reviewing entity for any outward modifications which are made to any building within that district boundary. This building obviously falls within that realm. And there is a section in there specifically that addresses windows and window treatments, okay? So yes, this is under your purview to review and approve or deny. You can approve with modifications, or you can just straight out deny the application. As for the referral to the Landmarks Preservation Commission, I did read the Chris report, and I'm looking for what it specifically says. Let me just find it. I had it here a second ago. Bear with me, I apologize. Here it is. No, that's not it. Where'd it go? There it is. One more. Okay. It says, for this building, 608 Broadway, that the property meets eligibility criteria to be listed. And then it says criteria for inclusion in the National Register. It's checked off by the state. It embodies the distinctive characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction, or represents the work of a master, or possess high artistic values, or represents a significant and distinguishable entity whose component may lack individual distinction. So based on that, it is eligible for inclusion in the National Register, even though the windows, as they existed prior to the ones that have been replaced, weren't the original windows intact. I have to agree with Julie that I think it should be referred to Landmarks Commission for an opinion back to this commission. I know we don't want to get involved in process. However, the applicant, whether it be the property owner, the contractor, or the representative, the architect in this case, should have discussed this project prior to ordering windows to put into the building. If they had discussed this project with the Building Safety Division before placing the order, they would have been told that they needed to go through this particular review process. We wouldn't be in this situation. So we're trying to remedy if the commission feels comfortable, but I still believe that, yes, it should go to Landmarks Preservation Commission for at least an opinion.
At this point, I want to hear from other commissioners on
Okay.
one.
Abigail Robin.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, Abigail.
Oh, yeah. I think this is a very, very important building. It's right across the street from UPAC. It has, to me, great significance. I remember. Anyway, I've watched it grow. I'd like the Landmark Commission to do something, to say something about it. Okay.
Dean? Dean?
Yes, I mean, I think it's definitely an aesthetic improvement. Obviously, the procedure is at issue, but since they're not the original windows, I would not have a problem with the ones that are being installed.
Kevin McAvoy?
I don't have a problem.
I think Kevin froze up.
With
Yeah.
it going to the Landmarks Commission, if that's the sense of what the group wants to do. I just want to note one thing. Whoop.
What?
No, am I back?
Now,
Yeah.
Kevin, you keep
Hello?
Kind
going
of.
in and out. Can you repeat?
I'll keep talking. Tell me if I'm there. Yeah, it had to do with the SHPO Chris report. That was done, I believe, in 2009. You can tell that by the project reference number. It has an 09, starts with 09. That would be the date. And the bottom says Lynn Garofalini on it. And Lynn left sometime prior to 2011. So this was done approximately 10 years ago or so.
No, there was,
It does note that the original windows have been replaced
Can't hear you.
and the openings were shortened.
Kevin?
It
Kevin,
noted that the windows have been replaced and the openings shortened. And well, it's all
Okay.
right, you can move on.
Michael?
I don't know what's been going on with paperwork and and back problems, but when I look at that particular corner right there, the windows I think are a tremendous improvement, representing a significant investment in Midtown in an older building which may or may not be of great historical value. I don't know about that. I know that what I see there is, if I were to design it, that's what I would put in there, or those kind of windows. I understand about the arch, but I think this particular arch is so small that it becomes insignificant as opposed to the cost of custom fabricating that little tiny arch. So I say install and have at it. Go for it.
Bonnie?
I like them.
Bonnie?
I was going to say what Mike said, was that the eyebrow and that filler is so insignificant, that the dimensionality of it is so small that it doesn't grab your eye as much as some of the comparison documents that Robin had shared. I do think it's an incredible improvement. I think it's a wonderful addition to what was plywood and what almost like old storm windows. So it looks much better. And as everyone else said, the process, the fact that they're in now makes sense. Unfortunately, they couldn't have hesitated and put plywood in instead in the interim. I get it. It sounds like they jumped the gun a little bit. It's unfortunate, but from the aesthetic point of view, I think they look much better.
And I'm Hayes Clement again, and I agree with Bonnie and Michael's sentiment as expressed. I would like to make a motion to approve the window report. Yes?
If I could interrupt you, this is Sue again. If you would just do the seeker first, please.
Sure. I would like to recognize that this is a type 2 action under seeker and does not require seeker review, and that we approve the installation of double hung 2/2 vinyl windows as purchased and proposed, and glass block for larger windows at 608 Broadway. Is there a second for that motion?
Hayes, this is Sue again. We need to add the statement with the restriction on the building permits being issued.
Why is this not an emergency repair?
Because it's not there, the windows exist, they are open. So until the restriction is lifted, and it's my sense that what I'm hearing right now is that on May 15th, construction projects and manufacturing are going to be the first restrictions lifted and phased in.
Okay, so that motion would include guidance that this is being classified non-essential work under the governor's emergency orders. Do I hear a second? From Bonnie?
Bonnie,
Oh,
Any further discussion of this?
My only question is if it's been raised multiple times, and pardon my naivety on this, about going to the Historic Preservation Commission. If we approve here, does she still need to go to that commission to have it reviewed?
No,
No,
this is a motion on approving it.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor. Is there any further debate on this? Hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. I'm Hayes Clement, and I vote aye. Hold on. Dean Barnes,
I vote aye.
Abigail Robin,
Abstain.
Bonnie Howland,
Vote aye.
Michael Del Priore,
I vote aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Kevin?
Aye, there, yeah.
Okay.
Aye.
You heard me? Okay.
Hayes,
Stu, yeah.
Abigail, you need to please state your reason for abstaining, because with your abstention, the vote will not carry as a majority of the full commission.
Well, I feel that this is a really important building, and I would like it to be done as historically as possible.
Oh,
And maybe, I'm saying because I went by, I looked at it, I've seen the whole thing. The field court is done so beautifully. I think that this can be done so beautifully. Maybe I don't know enough to really make any kind of decision on this, and that's why I'm abstaining.
okay, if I can just be clarified, then you are really not abstaining, you're voting against.
Well, I
And
mean, I would like, yeah. I guess that yes, I'm voting. I guess I'm voting yes.
Okay.
You're voting yes?
no, she's voting against, no.
I'm voting.
Well, I'm not gonna vote to refer it to landmarks. This commission has to have some authority over what we have authority over. So this commission is meaningless if every time this has something that is our purview won't be voted on.
Okay.
Does that change your opinion on it, Abigail?
Well, I feel forced to change my opinion. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm under pressure. I'm voting yes.
May I say something?
No, Robin, let's go. Okay, I want to do this roll call one more time though, just to make sure we're all in this. The motion is to approve this window replacement as presented. Hayes Clement, I'm voting yes. Dean Barnes,
Yes.
Abigail Robin,
I guess yes.
Bonnie Howland,
Yes.
Michael Del Priore,
Yes.
Kevin McAvoy.
Yes.
The ayes
Motion
carry.
carried.
Thank you, Robin.
Okay.
All right, next order of business is 55 St. James, a repainting of the house in Benjamin Moore historic colors. The main portion to be in a dark blue, either Hale Navy HC 154 or Newburyport HC 155, with the trim to be in Booth Bay Gray HC 165. Don and Judy Tollerman, applicants and owners. Don and Judy, are you there?
Judy is here. Judy, can you unmute yourself, please?
Got it, sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
we can. Thank you.
So Judy, if you could just sort of give us a brief overview of what you're talking about doing.
Yeah, we're just painting the house. It's in pretty bad condition. It's white right currently. We actually did paint samples yesterday, so I actually picked Hale Navy, because I know that there are two colors down. I was concerned it would be too dark, but it's actually very blue, so I'm happy about that. And I think it's going to be a huge, huge improvement on St. James.
Julie, do you or Sue have a professional opinion on this?
No.
Yay.
Julie?
High five. That's a thumbs up. I think it's a good choice.
Thank you.
Everybody saw this. Any commissioners have feedback or issues with this or questions? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to allow the repainting of 55 St. James Street and the Benjamin Moore Historic Colors collections as presented in the application, with this noted as a type 2 action under SECOR, and also with guidance that this is deemed non-essential work under the governor's emergency orders. Do I hear a motion?
I'll motion.
Michael Del Priore makes the motion.
Second.
Dean Barnes seconds. Motion on the floor. Is there any further debate or questions about this? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. Hayes Clement, I vote aye. Dean Barnes.
Aye.
Abigail Robin.
Aye.
Bonnie Howland.
Aye.
Michael Del Priore.
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Stay
you.
well.
You too.
Next order of business, 142, 144 St. James Street, a proposal to repaint building and to replace boarded up windows with new inserts to match existing. Applicant is Richard Lanzarone, applicant and owner. Richard, are you here?
I am, thank you.
If you could give the just an explanation to the commission what you're planning.
Well, I submitted a fairly detailed illustrated plan of what the scope of work is. The building certainly has needed some help for quite a long time. It's been a rental property, and prior owners really did things, I would say, on the cheap. The building is certainly not very attractive at this point. One of the key detractions is the fact that some of the windows were blocked in from the inside, like they created like living space and closed it from the inside, and then they put plywood on the outside. So it's quite unattractive. I don't want to use the word eyesore, but it's quite unattractive. If those who are familiar with this, it's a pink building. It's kind of, it's hard to miss. So The porch is, there's some settlement or moving in the porch, so we need to do some repair work there. It has cedar shingles, some of which are like frayed or at the edges. So we want to replace those that are, that look to have some wear and tear. And generally and then paint the house. So basically repair work. By the way, I referred this to the building department. I sent the same scope of work to Steve Knox.
Yeah.
And his opinion was that it's essentially repair work, and so it didn't really. The only thing that required a building permit were the actual window replacements. There'll be about, in addition to the several windows which are plywood covered right now. So our plan is to take the plywood out, put a window in, and we'll put like blinds behind it and close the blinds so that it appears from the public view that it's still a window. I mean, it actually won't be a window that sees through from the inside, but at least from the public view, it'll look presentable. There'll be about 10 windows altogether replaced, besides those few that are plywooded over. The basement windows are in poor shape. Some of them are missing. So, we'll replace some of those. And there's a few other windows in the building which are, they're a concern because they're old wooden windows, and from a lead contamination point of view, they pose a potential hazard to tenants. If you're familiar with how it works, when wooden windows that are lead painted move up and down, they shed lead laden dust on the sill. So we want to replace. There's a few windows we're replacing just for the point of view of safety, and from a lead safety point of view, it's desirable to replace those windows. Now, the existing windows that I can tell in the house are, they're double hung windows. A previous owner yanked a bunch of the windows had like a eyebrow of stained glass, and a previous owner yanked a lot of the stained glass, which is unfortunate. But where we have that situation now, we will put the new window up to the stained glass, retaining the stained glass where we can. And actually, if I can find stained glass panes that fit within those openings, I would at some point put them back to restore the building to the way it was. So that's basically it. It's
Thank you. Julie and Sue, what's the professional opinion on this one?
Yeah, I just have a couple of questions first. Rich, obviously you're doing a lot of exterior repair work on this house right now. What about the roof? What is the roof in fair condition, good condition?
it's in fair condition. There was a leak. We just had it recoated. Most of the roof is actually a flat roof. If you look at it from Google Earth, it's a flat roof. And it did have a minor leak, but we had that repaired in the last couple of weeks, actually. So, yes. But in terms of the parts of the roof that are visible, they're just going to remain. We're not doing anything with them.
Okay, and I see on one of your notes, Rich, that you are removing all of those satellite dishes along the Wall Street side of the building. Are they going to be replaced with something, or they're just being totally removed?
No, they're being totally removed. First of all, nobody in the building currently uses satellite. These are from tenants that have long gone.
Okay.
So no.
Okay, and my last question is that on that same Wall Street side, it looks like a few of the windows have recently been replaced. I'm seeing like stickers in them. Did you replace those, or are they just stickers that never got removed?
Probably stickers that never got removed.
Okay. Okay.
Do you guys,
Which are the windows that are wooden that you were mentioning? Are they on the front, the rear, or the opposite side?
They're on the front side and on the Wall Street side.
Okay.
Towards the rear of the building. It's actually like the first the first bay that protrudes out, like the little bow.
Mm-hmm.
The center window on the first floor and second floor, those sashes would be replaced. But if you see, those still have the stained glass. So we're going to retain the stained glass and just replace the sash below the stained glass. So the new window will come up to the stained glass.
Okay. I know you had given 2 color schemes, I believe 2, or you had a few
Actually,
colors.
a few color schemes, actually.
Is there one that is your preference, Rich?
I think it's the gray scheme, the two-tone gray scheme, like a darker. The lower part of the building is stucco, and the upper part is cedar shingle. The way it's currently painted, I'm not really fond of the pink color. So if we keep a two-tone scheme, we would, paint the stucco part in a medium gray and the upper part in a lighter gray. It's a big building. We don't really want to paint it in too dark a color. It would just be too massive a hulk. So
This
we're
is
looking at,
right.
yeah, exactly right, exactly.
That's
White
what-
trim,
okay.
white trim, 2 tones of gray. We might actually paint it a single tone of gray. We might go 1 tone of gray and white with white trim. It really, we haven't firmly decided.
Sue, is there a schematic of this? I never saw a visual.
Oh, wait.
And that's the gray scheme we're talking about? Or it's
Yeah.
Yes. And, we're thinking, we might paint the front door like an accent color, red or blue, something like that. But otherwise, we'd keep it pretty simple, neutral. I submitted a number of schemes, actually. You may show them the other schemes. I thought maybe you had seen these.
I'm a fan. This is Bonnie.
Huh?
I like the grays, but I am a fan of the revival greenstone over the Downing slate. I like that one. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, as I said, they all kind of work.
This is the one that she's.
Yeah, I like how that looks too. The yellow over yellow. This is Bonnie again. The yellow over yellow is a little bit much. I like the gray over gray that you had just mentioned, and then even the tan over the khaki is nice too. The yellow's a little much, and I won't miss the pink. I drive by it all the time, so I won't miss the pink. Compliments to you on what you're doing.
Thank you.
I agree. The yellow is, a bit much.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Julie, your thoughts on it?
I think that you should stick with what gives the most contrast, give some visual interest to that building. It has some very sweet features, and they need to be highlighted. So more contrast, the better. So definitely not a monochromatic yellow. That's my opinion.
Okay, all right.
So that takes us back to the gray on gray.
The gray on gray for this one.
Yeah, we also have the khaki. We have the two like it's taupe and khaki. I don't know if you have a picture of that one.
Right. Yeah,
I
that
can bring it up on my screen. I can bring it up on my screen, and I can share my screen.
or this one.
Yeah, right, exactly. That certainly has less contrast.
Right.
The high contrast would either be the gray and gray against white trim, or The gray and green, the gray and green certainly have a high degree of contrast, actually. It's a darker gray. You know, I'm not
So
sure.
are we being asked to advise on this, or are we being asked to approve a specific one single paint scheme?
Yes, you would be looking at approving one paint scheme.
Okay. So Richard, which one do you want us to approve?
Well, so, you know, this work is not scheduled to start till several weeks, actually, and the painting would be almost the last thing we do. And I was hoping to like just put off the decision as long as possible. But I like either the gray on gray scheme or the one that Bonnie suggested. Those would be my two favorites.
Yeah.
Certainly.
What was the one?
I'd like to hear, you know, I'd like to hear some other opinions. I'm surprised you guys haven't seen them. I can pull them up. I can share my screen actually if you want. Can I? No, I don't think so because I'm not the
Sue?
main organizer.
Yes, Michael?
No, I agree with Rich. I like both of those, the gray on gray and the green on gray. The green on gray, there's something very intriguing about it. Isn't there a way we can approve two, either this or that? Like both of these are acceptable to give him some, I'm not a fan of the yellow, but I mean, asking him now to pin down, I mean, if we find two or three schemes acceptable, why not?
This is Hayes Clement. We've certainly approved, you know, a choice of either or. It's typically two, not three. Sue?
I have a comment. I think that the green over the gray actually, I think, complements the roof color much better. It blends the roof into the structure a lot nicer. However, with the gray on gray, I like the idea of setting a different color on the front door. So I'd like to look at a possibility of doing a different door color for this. It always, to me, sets off a front, you know, a front entryway with a different color door. So.
Yeah, sure.
Anyone else have comments or what wants to weigh in on which of the schemes they like best?
Bonnie?
I guess I have more of a question based on what Mike had brought up. Is can we approve the work in the first few pages of this application, which is the repairs and the adjustments and the stucco and the porch, and then pick two color schemes, as Hayes said, instead of three? So do it in phases, or do we just do the whole thing as one blanket thing and then two colors? How would that work?
This is Sue. You can do it in a couple of phases, but I believe that if you're comfortable with doing it in one review, he would just implement it in phases as he goes forward.
Okay.
And if you're comfortable with choosing one, you know, two different color schemes, you can specify that in your decision.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to approve the repair work at 142, 144 St. James Street as a type 2 seeker action with the choice left to the owner for either the gray on gray color scheme as described or the green on gray color scheme as described at his discretion? This to be classified with guidance as non-essential work under the governor's emergency order.
I'll motion.
Mike Del Priore
Second.
makes the motion. Dean Barnes seconds the motion. There being a motion on the floor, is there any further discussion or debate about this? Hearing none, I will call for the vote by roll call. I'm Hayes Clement. I vote aye. Dean Barnes?
I vote aye.
Abigail Robin,
Aye.
Bonnie Howland,
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Rich, congratulations. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. Appreciate your help and your guidance. Thank you.
No
Bye
problem.
now.
Thank you, Rich.
Bye.
Next item on the agenda is discussion of the planter uptown. Sue, do you want to tell us about that?
Yes. I'd like to get a smaller group together. Actually, everybody can be involved if you would like, to clean up and replant our planter up on North Front Street in the parking lot. I believe, we do have some monies that are in our budget that we can use towards purchasing the plants. The Herzog's company has agreed to give a discount to any of the planter owners that are putting new plantings in. I would like to look at doing this. I was hoping for this coming weekend, but the weather is not looking like it's going to be cooperative. The following weekend is Mother's Day weekend. I'd be willing to do it on Saturday, or we could do it in an evening since it's staying lighter out later. If we want to do it in the evening, it would probably be 2 evenings. The first evening would be just to go and shoot the plants. We want something that's going to be hardy and pretty much last through the season. Lower maintenance type plantings. And then it's just a matter of then the next night maybe going and just doing the digging and the cleaning. It would probably be an hour the first night and maybe a couple hours the second night. Any volunteers? Michael?
Yeah, I'll
Bonnie?
try and help, sure.
Okay.
Especially before that this is Bonnie, that May 15th date, because with manufacturing, my shop may open back up.
Okay.
So if it's nights during the week, I have no commute, I'm right here. So I could do either. I could do a Saturday, or I can do a Saturday Mother's Day weekend's fine, or 2 nights. So just let me know.
Perfect. Okay, great.
Abigail, I can help.
I know you would, Abigail. Okay, great. So I'll be in
Anything else?
that, and we'll get
So
that
when
done and spruced up and looking good.
What's the date?
I haven't chosen it yet. I'll probably look at the beginning of next week to look at what the weather's going to be like and I'd like to do it on a weeknight if at all possible, if we could. Okay?
Okay.
Anything else on the planter?
No.
I want to thank.
It doesn't look like it's too bad.
I want to thank Julie and Sue for all their hard work under, I'm sure, very challenging circumstances and with lots of people on edge temperamentally. I know it's not easy. Our next meeting is scheduled for 6:30 p.m. May 27th. Please let everyone, hopefully we'll be doing it in person maybe by then. If not, I think this worked actually pretty well. But please make every effort to be there. As you can see, we still have our ongoing quorum issues. Sue?
I was just going to mention that if anybody knows anyone who is a resident of the city of Kingston and you think that they would be a good member, we are in dire needs of obtaining a few new members. I don't see the commissions, meaning the Historic Landmarks Preservation Commission and the Heritage Area Commission, merging in anytime soon. So we don't run into any conflicts with quorums going forward. I would like to, get a few more people on this commission. So if anybody has names and you can submit them to me or have them call me, I can tell them where to get the application and complete it. And we can discuss what, the obligations would be. And if we can get, 2, maybe 3 more members, that would help a great deal for us.
Thank you. Hayes Clement again. Does anybody else have anything to ask or anything to say? I would make up, I'm sorry, Julie.
I just had a thought.
No, I don't.
What if we reduce the number of the commission members? Would there be opposition from the seating membership if we approached the common council to reduce the number of members? It's an 11-member board. If we reduced it to, say, 7 or 9, it has to be an odd number. Any thoughts?
I think we ought to, I would ask that you come back with a firm recommendation on that for us at the next meeting, and that we can, if we're in consensus on it, ask you to present, ask it to be presented to the common council. Sure.
Okay.
Anything else? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Michael Del Priore, do I hear a second?
Bonnie, second.
From Bonnie Howland, I'll call the roll on that. I'm Hayes Clement, I vote aye. Dean Barnes,
Aye.
Abigail Robin,
Aye.
Bonnie Howland,
Aye.
Michael Del Priore,
Aye.
and Kevin McAvoy.
Aye.
Terrific. Guys, this has been great. Thanks for being so patient with this.
Okay.
And
Thanks a lot, guys.
watch your email for the electronic signature documents, right? Tomorrow, Sue?
Yes.
Okay.
So those decision documents do have to be signed.
They'll be sent around to individuals, as we said during the mock meeting. They will be sent around one by one to each of you so that you'll sign them and then we'll pass them along to the next person. Okay?
Perfect.
Mhm.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Be
Okay.
safe.
Take care.
Bye.
Aye.